Donald Trump became 47th President of the United States of America after achieving a historic groundbreaking win in the US presidential election 2024. It is going to be his second term after the first term from 2017 to 2021. And the new Trump administration 2.0 is not only going to change the dynamics of the United States but also the dynamics of the entire world. His policies and decisions will be majorly influencing the global economy and geopolitics of the world comprehensively. Let's understand these dynamics in detail and their possible impacts on the globe. During his campaign, Trump proposed 10% import tax on global goods. He wants to impose that tax on all foreign goods coming into the US market. And all the players from the globe, including India, are going to be affected by that step of Donald Trump. He vowed a 60% import tax on Chinese goods as they are hurting the US economy already. The excessive production and dumping of Chinese goods has not only disrupted the US market but also the global market, as it is already known to the entire world that the US-China trade war is at its peak. During his first term, he had imposed higher tariffs on products from China and the products from the European Union. That had impacted these economies severely compared to other economies. Again, China and Europe are worried about how the Trump administration and Trump tax will hurt them. Trump also wants to impose an additional 25% tariff on Mexico. Mexico is one of the largest trading partners of America. It means it will increase the challenges for the Mexico. Trump has threatened to crack down illegal immigration. He has vouched to start a large deportation campaign for those who live in America without proper documentation. Large chunk of the immigrant population comes from the Latin America. And these Latin countries receive a huge amount of remittance from the United States, which boosts the economies of these countries. Immigration is one of the major concerns for the United States of America, and Donald Trump wants to address it so that he could stop illegal immigration through donkey routes via Mexico border or other channels. Legal immigrants are welcome in the US. However, Trump's protectionist attitude will be there when it comes to protecting American citizens and their jobs. Therefore, a limited number of visas will be issued for the outsiders. These strict policies of Trump are also going to affect the entire world, including India, especially the IT sector, which heavily relies on the US market and receives a significant portion of US work visas such as H-1B visa. Trump's policies also include two massive wars that are going on in the world. During his campaign, he promised to stop Ukraine-Russia war, and the chances are high because Trump has good relations with Putin. Donald Trump has already asked Putin to reduce escalation and stop the war. Trump has asked Ukraine to give up the territories which Ukraine lost in the war and are now under the control of Russia. He said that no American soldiers will be sent in that war. Instead, Trump wants British and European troops sent to enforce an 800-mile buffer zone between Russia and Ukraine as a part of his peace plan as he prepares to speak to Putin. Trump doesn't blame only Russia, he blames Zelensky too for the Russian invasion. The Ukraine-Russia war started in 2022 and it's almost going to be 3 years to that war. And Trump believes that must end as soon as possible. Additionally, he also talked about the sorting out the issue of Middle East crisis. He just wants to end them, and the major reason behind that is the cost. Till the present, US approved $64.1 billion to the Ukraine war in military assistance and $17.9 billion said to the Israel war. He believes that these amounts are burdening the United States of America. Trump also believes that NATO members are not contributing enough for the defense and not paying their share to strengthen the alliance, which is causing the drain of US dollars. Hence, European members are concerned about two things. First, Trump may destroy the alliance of the US with NATO, and second, he will stop backing NATO's current project, that is defense of Ukraine. And the reason behind that, the NATO countries are heavily dependent on the US for their defensive needs. In Feb 2024, he warned that he would allow Russia to do whatever it wants to NATO member nations that are delinquent in devoting 2% of their GDP to defense. That threat sent shockwaves to Europe and it worked very well. After that, NATO countries increased the spending on defense and it has reached more than the double in 2024 compared to 2023. They decided to strengthen the alliance and to reduce dependency on the US slowly. Trump repeatedly threatened higher import tariffs on foreign goods of the countries that might pose a risk for the US economy. But for the United States, higher tariffs means higher costs in the domestic market. And the higher costs often means higher prices for the consumers. The US Federal Bank just started cutting rates and the inflation in the United States just got under control since COVID-19 pandemic. But if the tariff pushes prices again, the US Central Bank will hike interest rates again. It means the global economy will get affected because many countries are dependent on the US dollar for the international trade. Especially the emerging markets or developing economies will affect most because the borrowings will be expensive. International Monetary Fund projects global economic growth 3.2% for the next year 2025. But these tariffs could worsen these numbers. The changes in the US will have far-reaching ramifications all over the world. And these changes can be seen already. For instance, MSCI revealed that after the US elections, US dollar strengthened against other currencies like Euro, Yen and Pound, while other currencies of emerging economies such as Indian Rupee, Thailand's Baht and Mexico's Peso weakened against the US dollar. It means it would trigger high inflation in these markets. The Trump administration is completely different from the Biden administration. And the main focus areas of Trump's policies are America First, Making America Great Again, exponential growth of US economy, etc. And he believes that it requires inward focus, therefore he will be focusing more on domestic affairs instead of world affairs. Now let's see what happens next in the future, what decisions the Trump administration 2.0 takes and how these decisions change the world around.